Buckle your seatbelt. It's time for another episode of the Prepper Recon Podcast. I've personally been buying gold and silver from JM Bullion for over 2 years. They offer the best prices over spot that I can find, and I've never had a problem with an order. If you're looking to trade in some of your fiat paper for real money, check out jmbullion.com today. Ready Made Resources is a trusted name in the prepper community because they've been around for 18 years. They offer great prices on night vision, water filtration, long-term storage food, solar energy components, and provide free technical service. Get ready for an uncertain future at readymaderesources.com. Hey Preppers and Patriots, this is the second half of my interview with YouTuber Peachy Medic. Enjoy the show. Let's talk a little bit about keeping yourself safe. Obviously, the Ring of Fire has been very active lately, so a large part of the country is at great risk for earthquakes. Active shooter situations. These are growing in number. I think this is probably has less to do with the Second Amendment and more to do with taking prayer and the Bible out of schools 4 decades ago and teaching people that they've descended from animals rather than being created by God. And of course, if you don't teach people, do unto others as you would have done unto them, then you teach them that Darwinism is in fact, how we came to be, and that it's the process of eliminating weaker, members of the species is the best way forward for evolution, then I guess that's what we should expect people to do. So is to operate on an animalistic level. So I don't see any change in that trend. Obviously our southern border is wide open, so we're at risk of bombings like we've seen in mass shootings like we've seen in Paris and Brussels. So there's a lot of sort of sticky situations where you can be going in to try to help somebody else. But what are some of the things that as a first responder or as a prepper or a good Samaritan that you have to be aware of when you're going into a situation to try to help somebody else?
Well, actually, if you go to an EMT school or paramedic school, the accrediting agency that does all the testing and everything, they give you all these checkoff sheets, and you can ask any EMT or paramedic. They're incredibly boring to read and recite and memorize. But one of the very top things on there is scene safety. We call it a scene size up. So I find scene safety to be probably the most important thing you can do on wherever you're at. It's even more important than your patient, because if something happens to you, then you do your patient no good. I can't really, I can't really go into much other detail other than that. If you have to leave your patient, leave your patient. Because like I said, you don't do them any justice if you're hurt too. That means you can't help anyone. But just on basic things. So a normal call that I would go on, or a normal thing that anybody would drive up on, is a car accident. So the first thing you need to think about when you pull up to a car accident is don't park directly in front of or behind the car. The fire truck and the ambulance, they're going to have to come there. You need to make sure the car's stable. You need to turn off the car. If there's a fire, please get the person out of the car. But if the fire's moving into the passenger compartment, leave them there, okay? It's not, I know this sounds bad, but it's not worth hurting yourself over to try to get that person out. If you can get them out, that's great. But if it's going to seriously injure you, I will say don't do it, but that's a decision that you'll have to make personally, in whatever situation that you may find yourself in. Make sure the car's stable. Just it's simple things like that you have to look around. Recently, I taught a class. It was a EMS response to active shooter class. So I was teaching a group of EMTs. And we have to follow local protocols, obviously, but or else we will get in trouble. But I was teaching a group of EMTs what the nationwide trend is for active shooters. So it used to be like when they called the ambulance would not go anywhere near where somebody was still shooting at. We'd wait for the police to get there and wait for them to just secure the scene, and then we'd go in. Well, they found out that people were dying because of lack of medical care because they were having to wait until the ambulance could get there. So they're now teaching now that some departments are sending their EMTs and paramedics in with the police to go and start rescuing folks. And that's created a huge controversy in the EMS world. But I'll just say in like a mall situation or a school or a college or a church, Mark, there's been a lot of church shootings that have gone completely unreported here recently. There's several last year, and I think there's already been 2 or 3 at the beginning of this year. So church shootings is something I see on the rise as well. But for an active shooter, now I'm going to assume that a lot of your followers and subscribers are concealed carriers. So as far as the law where you live, you will have to make the decision whether or not you will go ahead and address the shooter in your own right. That's something that you will have to address personally. I can't tell you whether to go in and go and neutralize that target or not. That's something that you'll personally have to make that decision. But what I will say is, see if you can get as many people out of the line of fire as possible. Also understand the difference between cover and concealment. Just because you're concealed does not mean you're covered. Bullets can go through a lot of stuff. So understand that. A lot of that, as far as active shooter, is defensive tactics. Also, something that I do personally. You can check out my EDC video and see it. I carry a weapon on me, not on duty, but I carry a weapon on me, and I also carry a tourniquet on me. I believe that if I have the ability to, my slang term is, if I have the ability to ventilate somebody else, I may get ventilated as well. So, I think that I need to carry a tourniquet because if I can shoot somebody else can shoot me. I think that all concealed carriers need to be carrying a tourniquet, at a minimum of 1 tourniquet. You don't have to carry gloves. You don't have to carry a QuikClot. I'm not asking you to carry a kit. I'm not asking you to do anything like that. Now, on your plate carriers, if you have those, or your chest rigs, you obviously need to get a kit of, choose your flavor or whatever kit you want. But I think on your person, you need to carry a tourniquet. I'm not going to endorse any one particular tourniquet. I've used many. But use one that you can use proficiently very quickly and that your family can use. And I suggest that everyone in your family have a tourniquet on them. So those are really going to be kind of the main things that I could see that scene safety be an issue. Obviously, you have house fires, and your family may have to respond to that, a fire inside your own home. But that's just going to be a fire escape plan, just like, like your children would learn in kindergarten or first grade. So that's just a more of a normal family plan. But I suggest that every family have a plan to meet up somewhere if they're lost or if there's an earthquake or whatever. Have communications on board. I'm a ham radio operator. I say that everybody needs to have comms on board. And other than that, it's just basic medical knowledge that will really save lives, and tourniquets save lives as well.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Katie Armor offers affordable body armor, including level 3 trauma plates made of AR-500 steel. These plates can endure multiple rounds from pistols and rifles up to 7.62 NATO. Use coupon code PrepperRecon to get 10% off your entire order at katiearmor.com. That's CATI armor.com.
Get prepared before disaster strikes. PrepperRecon.com offers MOLLE-compatible individual first aid kits for your home, auto, or bug-out bag. These kits have everything you need to address a traumatic injury, including an Israeli battle dressing, QuikClot, EMT shears, suture kit, steri-strips, tourniquet, tough strip bandages, and so much more. Kits are available in OD Green, Coyote, Black, and ACU. $99 includes shipping. Go to PrepperRecon.com and click the Store tab at the top of the home page. Order today before it's too late.
And then besides the tourniquet, for somebody's basic medical kit, you mentioned that they should have something on their chest rig if they're gonna, if they're training or anticipating a lot of action or something. What should be in that kit?
That's really going to depend on what you feel comfortable with. I've seen people that have needles in there for chest decompression. I've seen people that have quick clot in them. I've seen people that have tourniquets in them. That's really going to be depending on what you think your skill level is. I will say at a minimum, you can have a pair of gloves in there, because that's very important for your safety. You need to have at least one tourniquet in there, that you know how to use. A lot of the tourniquets now are they're dummy proof, but you still need to be proficient how to use it. Quick Clot's one of those things that you can put in there or you don't have to put in there. Also, Celox is another brand. So if you use something like that, just be proficient and understand how it works. Also, I would suggest have some gauze in there. Have a chest seal in there and understand when to use the chest seal, which is an occlusive dressing, which if you don't have one of those, put a Ziploc bag in there and some tape, and you can do the same thing as a chest seal. And there's numerous different types of commercial chest seals on the market. So I would suggest having that. You can have first aid kits, blowout kits, trauma kits, whatever you want to call them. You can have Band-Aids in there. You can have Neosporin in there. You can make an all-in-one or just straight up trauma kit. So really, I suggest just have those few basic things in there. Like I said, have a couple pairs of gloves, have a chest seal, definitely have a tourniquet, have a Israeli blast bandage. I highly suggest those. I love those. They're like the battle dressing kind of thing. I really like those, especially for abdominal wounds. Those work really well. Or their RevMed, they have this air wrap system that's their new thing. So just having some basic stuff like that in there, I think will carry your listeners a long way.
And talk to us a little bit about skills. What are some of the basic things we should learn, and where can we access that training?
Okay, so skills are. I think that everyone. I actually think of all the crazy laws that we have in this country, Mark. I think it should be a law that every high schooler needs to be taught how to do CPR. I think of all the things that they need to put in school, that should be one of them. So at least one time in your life, you knew how to do CPR. If people knew how to do CPR, a lot more lives would be saved. Because honestly, ambulance response, by the time a lot of the times the ambulance gets there, we go through and do all of our stuff. But, a lot of times it's too late to really be effective. So early CPR is something you need to learn how to do CPR. American Heart Association, just go onto their website. I'll say that again, the American Heart Association. Go onto their website and you can look up local instructors in your area. And a lot of times, like even churches and stuff like that will put on CPR classes for free or very little cash. A basic first aid course is really nice. The Red Cross puts on a lot of good first aid courses. I'll highly suggest taking the Medical Prep 101 and 201 courses. That's not really a trauma course. It's more for everyday household emergencies, sicknesses. That's the course that the Patriot Nurse puts on. I have personally taken that one. I've taken both of those actually. That is a very well put together class. The Patriot Nurse does an excellent job putting that class together. It's going to be a little pricey, but if you're willing to spend, if you're willing to drop $2,000 on an AR-15, then to me, don't complain if you have to spend $500 on 2 medical classes. To me, that's a flawed argument to me. But that's really good. And then go check out, I take that back. There's always EMT courses that you can take, but that's a major time commitment. And first responder courses. A first responder course is kind of like a basic EMT course. So it goes a little bit more in detail than just a regular first aid course, but not as much detail as a basic EMT course. But those you can do in just a couple of days or maybe even a week. It's really not a huge time commitment there. But obviously, what I was going to say is YouTube. YouTube is a huge source of information. Even in my paramedic class, if we have a question on how to do something, a lot of times we'll go to YouTube. We call it YouTube University. There's a lot of great resources on YouTube. There's the Patriot Nurse, obviously. There's Skinny Medic. If you're more advanced, if you work in the medical profession, there's Eric's medical lectures. There's Khan Academy. Carrie Davis over at Dark Angel Medical does a lot of good stuff. Obviously the Peachy Medic channel, I'm starting to put out some information. So there's a lot of open source information out there, and as long as you are kind of a discerning person, you can most adults can discern whether or not somebody is putting out false information or whether they're putting out halfway decent information, and you can look at the video quality for that as well. People that are not putting out the highest quality videos are probably going to be kind of sketchy on the information. So that's another thing you can look at. But other than that, just online reading. Go online and you can find anything you want to know. Anything you want to know, Mark.
That's awesome. And that you mentioned that you'd worked for a while in pediatrics. I would imagine that kids can get really upset by a disaster scenario, especially if they've been injured. Are there some tactics we can use to help children stay calm after an event?
Yeah, Mark. So, at the hospital, like I said, I've worked or I still work at a very large trauma center. We see a lot of kids come in. So especially when you think there's like a neck injury or something to a child, you're going to have to hold their head straight. Little kids tend not to like things like that. And they tend not to really like just the assessment process in general. They're lonely, they're scared, they don't know what's going on. So just a teddy bear will work. Their favorite games. If you have a game on your phone, that will work. I have an iPad to let them watch whatever cartoons they watch. That works. Babies, they need food constantly. So giving them some food, a little bit of food, put a pacifier, that works. And when they're a little bit older, like I said, having their favorite toy. Now, because I'm mainly talking to preppers, we always consider the tactical aspect to field care, to like we're bugging out, somebody may be tracking us. So what I'll say with that is, if your child's a little bit older and they tend to play with toys, I would consider getting a toy that's not quite as bright and not loud. So like a stuffed animal, that'd be perfect. But for them to bring their favorite battery powered toy would probably not be the best thing, especially if you're in the woods. You think people are trying to track you down, or whatever the situation may be, the tactical situation may be. Their favorite a toy fire truck that lights up and makes siren noises and everything else may not be what you're looking for there. But generally just a toy will work, and just sit down and explain to them what's going on. A lot of kids, they pick up what their parents are doing. So if you're mom and dad and you're freaking out about whatever's going on, your kid's going to be nutting up. But even if you are concerned about what's going on, if you can kind of calm yourself down a little bit and just reassure your child that everything's going to be okay, a lot of times the child, even though they're still going to be scared and be in pain or for whatever reason, they'll tend to calm down a good bit. So if you just keep on, if you keep that as like the baseline, the normal, the calmness as the normal, a lot of children will really respond to that.
That's a great idea. I think maybe I'm going to add some multicam plush marmots to the Prepper Recon store. And now your channel has more than just medical, right? You cover comms and some firearm stuff as well, right?
Yes, I do. So I'm currently in the process of filming a basic vital signs series of videos. I'm in the process of trying to obtain a dummy, a mannequin that I can practice more medical assessments on. So that Peachy girlfriend won't be yelling at me every time I want to film a video. You just have to watch the video to understand what I'm talking about. But I'm trying to obtain a mannequin. Just they're expensive, and this is kind of a low budget operation. If you, as you can tell as you can tell on my channel. But I'm trying to do that. Like I said, I'm in the process of filming a basic vital signs series of videos. I'm not going to put that out there just yet. I want to get all of them filmed only because people that's never done the video side of things, behind the scenes, makes it a lot easier when you film all this stuff consecutively to kind of keep the train of thought going, because I'm trying to make a series of videos to kind of keep the train of thought going versus filming a video and then waiting 3 weeks and filming another video, and because I'll forget what I put in the first video, and because I kind of want to tie certain things into other stuff. So that's why I'm waiting a little bit, so I can get all these videos filmed, and then I'll put them up one by one. But yeah, so I think vital signs are another important thing that people need to learn how to do. But yeah, I try to do a lot of medical videos. I'm trying to do. I'm trying to talk to a range right now so I can learn. Well, not so I can learn, but so that I can start filming some more tactical medicine videos, how to extract your patient without hurting them, without causing further injuries, how to move patients without causing further injuries. I'm trying to get that squared away. I do like comms. I do quite a bit of comms videos because communications wins wars. Without comms, systems just come crashing to the ground, including your public safety system. If a dispatch center goes offline for whatever reason, I assure you, your city or your county or whatever, that this whole system just starts melting down. So communications is very important on the public safety side, the military side, government side, and even on your family side. So imagine if your cell phones would quit for one day. If your cell phones did not work for one day, how the trouble that would cause you, and it caused the world, honestly. So that's why I think comms are important. And I try to do some firearm stuff just because everybody likes to see the guns. So my dad's an NRA instructor. And I'm trying to get my NRA instructor as well. So we're trying to put some more firearms videos up there.
And then your latest video is Peachy Girlfriend, her review of her new LC9, which she chose over a Glock.
Yes, she did. She's been debating for a couple months now. She went and got her permit where we live. And she shot my Glock. I'm a Glock guy. I have more Glocks than I care to mention. But we have lots of Glocks here. And she shot Glocks. She shot Smith & Wesson. She shot a lot of guns. And but she wanted a gun that had a safety on it. So because she's kind of a new shooter, I said, okay, well, that's fine. So she went and we bought her a Ruger LC9S. It's the striker fired version. The trigger pull's not as long. She hated the regular LC9 that has a super long trigger pull. So we got the LC9S. It's a striker fired just like a Glock, but it has a safety on there. So she's learning how to shoot that. So yeah, that's the last video we posted with her, giving her a review of that. And right now she's just kind of figuring out how she's going to carry it. So I'll expect to probably another month or two, and she'll kind of get that kind of nailed down a little bit better.
And I wonder if it was really because it has the safety, or if it's because that she knows that Peachy Boyfriend's going to be the one cleaning it. And anybody that's ever had to detail strip an LC9 will tell you that will be adequate, ample payback for all the abuse you've put her through on the Peachy Medic channel.
Oh yeah. But I will tell you though, I was stripping down a Glock 19, and she saw me do it one time, and I'll tell you, she went and got it. She said, "Oh, I can do this," and she took that thing down within seconds, and I was very impressed. And she actually can take down the regular LC9. I haven't seen her take down the S yet, but she can take down the regular LC9 because we did have one of those before we sold it. So she can do it, but she doesn't like to.
Yeah, and field stripping is a big difference than detail stripping. Between Glock and LC9.
Oh yeah.
So now tell us one more time where you can find your channel.
So go on YouTube and type in the Peachy Medic channel. I should come up. You should see my logo. Also, I'm also on Facebook. I'm on Facebook a lot more than I am on my YouTube. Like I said, just because of my work schedule, my school schedule, it's hard for me to post videos a lot. But I try to be pretty consistent. But you can go on YouTube. You can go on Facebook. Excuse me, and just type into the search box Peachy Medic, and my logo should pop up there. Go follow me on Facebook. I'm pretty active on there. And if you have any questions about anything, you can either hit me up off of Facebook, or you can send me a email at peachymedic@gmail.com. I check my email constantly, so I'm always available that way. And I post all sorts of stuff on my Facebook, more than just medical stuff. I try to post basic and advanced medical stuff because I have people follow me that are in the medical profession as a career. So I try to post some advanced stuff on there. I post calm stuff, and then just other humorous prepper related stuff. So I try to keep up with my Facebook a good bit. So that's another way that you can follow me and comment below. Tell me what you want to see from me, and we'll see if we can make it happen. I'm a very very subscriber driven person. So whatever y'all want to see is what I'm going to do.
Awesome. Well, Peachy Medic, thanks so much for taking time to come on the show today.
Well, thank you so much, Mark, for letting me come on here. Thank you so much.
In 7 Cows, Ugly and Gaunt, Book 1, Behold Darkness and Sorrow, Daniel Walker begins having prophetic dreams about the judgment coming upon America for rejecting God's Word. Through one of his dreams, Daniel learns of an imminent threat of an electromagnetic pulse attack, sending the country into a technological dark age. If they want to live, Daniel and his friends must focus on faith, wits, and preparation to be ready before the lights go out. Buy your copy of 7 Cows, Ugly and Gaunt, Book 1, Behold Darkness and Sorrow, by best-selling author Mark Goodwin, in paperback, Kindle, or audio edition from Amazon.com today.